Hey everybody, I wanted to continue the series on the big mistakes you must learn as early as you can. This hindsight's 2020. It's easy to come up with these lists. And for me, it's fun. It's all the things that I wish I learned earlier than I did, right? So we need to make sure we keep an eye on these things. So we're going to start today with number 7 because 1 through 6 is already done. If you have missed that video, go find that one. It's on YouTube somewhere. But this is 6 or 7 through 12 for us. So mistake number 7 is debt sucks, and it sucks the life out of your finances. So we got to come up with a plan. If we have debt, we need to get out of debt. The sooner we learn to stay out of debt, the less effect it will have on the grand scheme of things. So draw your line on the sand. Wake up and realize no more debt for the rest of your life. It is possible. There's plenty of people that live without debt. Change your mindset. Make a spreadsheet of every single expense that you have. I do this with people that are retired that are struggling with their budget. It's amazing what they see when they go through and itemize every single thing they're paying for. I remember sitting down with a couple and they were looking through it going, hey, newspaper, we're still paying for a newspaper? We don't read the newspaper. There are things that we pay for and we don't even realize we continue to pay for. It's amazing. So reassess those expenses, reduce that budget, and start pouring money on that debt. Get out of debt. Do the debt snowball. I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey and all the education he does to keep people out of debt. I think everybody should learn that stuff. The basics of it are fantastic. Get out of debt, stay out of debt, and you're going to be way better off for it the earlier you learn that, okay? The next one, running from a job instead of running to a job, okay? Think about it like this: running from problems versus running towards opportunities. Think about what you're doing. Don't react to a bad day. Okay. I don't have a problem with being proactive, finding a better job and moving to the grass that's greener. But the flip side of this, you do have to understand if you're a job hopper, they're going to see it on your resume. You will have a stigma. You're never going to get opportunities for those upper level jobs. So moving to the grass is greener, that's fine. Making a couple of moves, that's fine. But doing it time over time over time, at some point you have to realize you got to find the best job you can find, work your way up the ladder, and then adjust. We've got to show some improvement at each job that we're in. That's where you kind of say that number 2 there, score a few home runs before you leave. Show that progression, that you're ready for that next level type behavior, okay? It's really important. So again, run towards opportunities, don't run for problems. Be careful about that in your career. Number 9, there are 3 kinds of money. We need to know that. And we need to know the difference between them through our life, because when we can make the right decisions on this, especially early on, it makes a huge difference. You know, everybody with their first job making a little bit of, look, my first job, not counting mowing lawns and doing stuff like that, my first W-2 paycheck was at 12 years old, I believe. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have been saving in Roth. It would have been wonderful. But the reality is we don't know these things that young, certainly. But when we graduate high school, graduate college, when we start getting off into our career, we need to understand the 3 different types of money. IRA money is all going to be 100% taxable when you go to take it out. The cool thing is when you put money in, it's tax-free, right? You get to save the money before you pay taxes on it. That's the cool thing. The bad side is 100% taxable later in life. So once you reach retirement, you're always going to have to withdraw from that from there on out. I know required distributions don't start till 72, but if you're doing things right, you're being proactive, you're probably going to start pulling from that IRA money the day you retire. You've got to pull money out of there, and you got to pull it out at the lowest taxation possible. So that's kind of bullet point number 2. You deposit money in the high tax years, your working years. In the higher tax years, you put the money in IRA. That's 401ks, 403bs, all the traditional pre-tax savings avenues that you have. But then the concept is you want to withdraw at low taxation. So you need to kind of schedule that out and think that through, because that takes an even disbursement, not just a big pull all at once. Okay. So once you hit those distribution years, once you start heading into retirement, you know you're going to have to pull money from that IRA, which means stable investing is going to produce better results. We also have to remember this is your heirs' least favorite money. Your heirs love money, but this is the least favorite because they have 10 years to get this money out of this tax status. And if it's a lot of it, they got to pull that out very quickly and pay lots of taxes. So be careful about thinking through your heirs situation when it comes to your mountain of IRA money. So Roth, everything's tax-free. You have to pay taxes to get it into Roth. But from there on out, everything's tax-free. Well, that's wonderful. Deposit in low tax years. Back when I was 12, 13 years old, running 2 paper routes, hustling, making money, I should have been throwing it into Roth, because then that would have been, what, 20, 30 years maybe of growth, all completely tax-free. That would have been wonderful. So aggressive growth or income has no tax consequences in this. It shifts the ability to invest in different ways. Things like publicly traded REITs, MLPs, closed-end funds, these are all investments that have alternative tax structures that are terrible on after-tax money. You can use those in these Roth accounts to enhance their growth and income coming from it. But keep in mind, this is your heirs' favorite money. They get to let it grow for 10 years without any tax consequences before they have to pull it out, still with no tax consequences. So this is pretty fantastic. This is going to grow for the rest of your life and 10 years of your heirs' life, completely tax-free. And then there's the after-tax part of your savings. This is money that is not IRA, not Roth. You paid taxes on it and you saved it and invested it. Buying houses, buying cars. This is the money that is that after-tax non-qualified part of your savings. Every investment choice you make in this part of your portfolio causes different taxation. So please be very careful on this part of the portfolio. Avoid interest, avoid non-qualified dividends and short-term capital gains. The best way to do that, stay away from high turnover mutual funds. These high cost, high turnover managed portfolios are the worst thing you could do in this part of your portfolio. Don't fall into these algorithm trading portfolios, these buying and selling portfolios. Get rid of those. That should not be in this part of the portfolio at all. Avoid CDs, avoid bonds. Get rid of any interest-bearing investments in this part of the portfolio. You can put those elsewhere, not in this part of the portfolio. Things like equities, stocks, bonds, real estate, they step up upon your passing. So that's the other thing you have to consider in this part of your portfolio is buying and holding for a long period of time. If you go and sell, you've got all these capital gains taxes you have to pay. But if you pass away with lots of profits in there, they step up the cost basis and nobody pays taxes. So we do need to take that into account. If you find yourself in retirement with more money than you're going to need for yourself, most likely a big chunk of that's going to your heirs, then why cause the taxation at all? Do longer term investing with no turnover in the portfolio and nobody pays taxes on the capital gains, okay? So we need to take that into account through each phase of life as well. Number 10, beneficiaries are by far the most important part of the estate planning process and documentation. You have to understand that your beneficiary forms on every money account, including bank accounts, including life insurance, annuities, investment accounts, IRAs, Roth accounts, anything that has money in it, the beneficiary form is by far the most important form. So if you're ever going to pay attention to anything, whether it's a will or a trust, I don't care. The beneficiaries are more important. In the priority totem pole, if the beneficiary says it goes to your son, but your trust or will says it goes to your son and daughter equally, the beneficiary wins. So if you haven't done your beneficiary forms right, you need to review them and very carefully. Use people that know what they're doing. I'm not a big fan of paying lawyers to look through these things. They're probably not going to anyways. But a good advisor understands the difference between things like per stirpes and per capita. They know how to put custodians over money if there's minors. They know how to do things on these beneficiary forms if they're good at what they're doing. Okay, if they're a good, well-rounded advisor, they should understand this stuff. So that's where a good advisor, that's another way they earn their fees, is making sure that this is filled out properly. So all your money should be covered with these beneficiary forms. There's no probate if you have the beneficiary forms filled out properly. Your house, in most states, well, no, about half the states in the United States, you can put a beneficiary deed. If you are in a state or own real estate in a state that does not allow beneficiary deeds, then yes, you probably have to have a trust. But in states like Arizona, you can put a beneficiary deed on the house that says after you pass away, here's who owns it. So now your house is taken care of. And hey, here in Arizona, we can also do it on a car. And a lot of the motor vehicle departments allow you to fill out a form that says who gets the car if you pass away. That's a beneficiary form. It works the same, no probate. Prove a death certificate, prove who you are, and you've got the asset. Okay, so your house can be covered by beneficiaries, your cars can be covered by beneficiaries, all your money can be covered by beneficiaries. What's left? Really? List it out on a will and you're done. All right, this is why beneficiaries are the most important. There's been plenty of studies and reviews on beneficiary forms, and it's amazing how many accounts don't have beneficiaries, have wrong information. Maybe they spelled your name, your child's name wrong, or even your spouse's name wrong. Maybe the Social Security number was one digit off. This is all going to throw huge problems into the mix if you pass away. So review those beneficiary forms. I'm always happy to help with that stuff, but that's important that you have somebody that knows what they're doing, especially if you've got an interesting situation, maybe not difficult. Number 11. Retirement planning is not just about money. Oh boy, I've had conversations with people about this, and it's really interesting. And honestly, in this career path that I've chosen over the last 20 or so years, it's really what I've learned. I'll be honest. I've always been good with numbers and money and all that kind of stuff. But the funny thing is my perspective on retirement is completely different now. And the experiences I've had with my clients, boy, it's kind of changed my life and my perspective. Please don't go into retirement without anything to do. Don't go into retirement and sit on the couch and twiddle your thumbs. Please, please, please. It's depressing. And unfortunately, it leads to an early death. Okay? Unfortunately, I've seen it. I had a terrible year. I had 7 clients pass away, all in the first 6 months of a year. And it was mostly spouses that, let's just say, shouldn't have died at all. And I need people to understand that you got to have a bucket list. You got to have hobbies. If you don't have them, find them. Aggressively figure out what you enjoy doing that you can occupy your day with. Find purpose in your life, your new life. Work is not your purpose anymore. Your purpose is something else. Maybe it's grandkids. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Everybody has their own purpose. Okay? Create that drive in yourself to enjoy retirement. Retirement is not the ending. Retirement is a new beginning. Trust me. I know people that this is the greatest time of their life. Vast majority of people that have their bucket list, have their hobbies, that have their purpose, without question, this is their favorite time of their life. Please proactively do this work before you head into retirement. Please figure out what this enjoyment is going to be before you head into retirement. Don't sit around and watch the news. The pandemic was difficult for this. Sitting on the couch, watching the news all day long, surfing the internet, watching your stock portfolio, it will drive you to an early grave. Please be careful about that. All right, the last one I've got for you is investing that changes as you need your money, okay? Please know that your portfolio should completely shift as you're heading into retirement. If you're actually going to use the money you spent all your life saving, your portfolio looks very different, and it's because of black and white math, okay? This is the hard part for people to understand. I do lots of education on this black and white math that helps you see this shift in investing that needs to be done. So 100,000 portfolio, just account part of your portfolio. You lose 50%, you only have $50,000. How much do you have if you earn the same 50% right back? Okay, this is the math problem that some people go cross-eyed on. For some people, it's really easy, but sometimes we look at this and go, whoa, that's not fair. What's going on here? So we had 100,000, we lost 50%, we earned 50%, and we only have $75,000 left. We don't have all our money left. Had 100, went down 50, up 50, we only have 75,000. This applies to up and down 10%, 20%, 15%. If it goes down 10, up 10, you don't have all your money back, okay? We earned 50% on $50,000. That's only $25,000 in earnings. 25,000 added to the 50 we had is only $75,000. When you lost 50%, you lost it on $100,000. That's the math that we have to understand how it affects through our life. So here's kind of the baseline. We're not taking money out. We're not putting money in. How much do we have to earn just to break even? So if we had 100,000 and we lost 50%, how much does the stock market have to go up before we have our own money back? This one, most people could do that math. It's 100%. We have to earn 100% after losing 50% just to break even. That's why a lot of people, when 2008 happened, that if they weren't touching their money, it went down 40%. It took a good 4 years for that to come back to where it was. 4 years just sitting around waiting for it to come back. Okay? When you're in retirement, you can't do that. The cool thing is, when you're in your working years, you can keep saving. All the advice is, hey, everything's on sale. Go buy more. Hey, dollar cost averaging really helps the portfolio. All these wonderful sayings from people that probably didn't even know the math. Let's see what it does. Okay, so we're going to put 10,000 into this account. Okay, we had 100, we lost 50%, we have 50,000. We added 10,000, now we have 60,000, but we have to earn enough to get back to $110,000 just to break even. So we got to go from 60 to 110. Let's see the math. We have to earn 83%. There's less exclamation points on this one, isn't there? Right, because that's less than 100%. We helped ourselves improve, right? We helped ourselves recover. By putting money in, we changed the math to our advantage because now we have more shares. Once we break even, once we earn 83% and break even, we have more shares all growing, and that's how we built our wealth. Okay, it's very important that we understand that we help ourselves recover through turbulence by putting money in. It's mathematically accurate. It's mathematically true. It's what helped us build our wealth through our entire working years. That's what it is. What happens when we go to retirement? Now we take 10,000 from this account. I'm doing this so you can see the math, the effect on your portfolio, the difference of putting in versus taking out. Now we took 10,000 from this account. We had 100, we lost 50%. We took 10,000 out. We now only have $40,000 in the account, but we only have to earn enough to get back to $90,000. So 40,000 to 90,000, how much do we have to earn to break even before we work on getting back the 10,000 we took out, right? Because we're just breaking even to 90. 40 to 90 takes 125% growth just to break even. We did the polar opposite of putting money in. We took money out, and the polar opposite effect happened. We dug ourselves into a deeper hole. We can't do this to ourselves in retirement. This is the number one thing we got to stay away from. What's crazy to me is this world of my portfolio averages. The S&P over the last couple of decades has been 5-6%. You got 9/11, 2008, you got a couple fluctuations in the next decade, but for the most part, that went straight up. Believe it or not, the compound rate of return was 5-6%, somewhere in there. But it certainly was better than 4%, wasn't it? It was obviously better than 4%. So $100,000 deposit in the S&P 500, we got $391,000 after the last couple of decades. 4%, we only have 246. The stock market was better. Okay, the last decade's been great. It went straight up. Now we're seeing some floundering. We're finally seeing some lasting struggles in the market, as opposed to flash down, flash back up craziness, right? We've seen it all in the market in the last couple of decades, a little bit of everything. So it's important to understand that you put 100,000 in, you're trying to build wealth. If it's just sitting in there and growing, the market's always been a great place. 4% is boring. Why would I do that? Well, when you need your money, here's how things change. The exact same investments, S&P 500 or 4%, using the same $100,000, but now we're actually going to withdraw $6,000 a year. And holy cow, the 4% fix blows away the stock market. Just because the stock market earned better than 4% doesn't mean it's a better investment. If you're going to start withdrawing from your portfolio, you need a plan and you need stable investments to pull from when the market's not doing well. Otherwise, that math we just went through is going to destroy your portfolio. So yes, boring, safe investments help your portfolio perform better as you head into the years that you're going to start pulling out. If you don't need money from your portfolio, go back to the portfolio without the safe investment. Okay? You can do just fine in the stock market if you don't need your money. It's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the people that need the safe, stable investments are the ones that need their money. All their money doesn't need to be safe and stable. They can have some in the stock market and some in the safe. A good balance is usually the best way to do it. All right? So that's mistake number 12 and the last one in the series. I have fun doing these things. So let us know if we can help out in any way. Share these with your friends, your kids, your grandkids, whatever it is you need to share it with. And please subscribe. Help us out. Leave some comments. Grab some reports. There's lots of free education and materials with us. We love educating and bringing some of this to light. The more we can help, the better we feel. All right. Thanks again. Let us know if we can help. Give us a call, and we'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it. Bye.